which dum-dum to go with next? You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. And of course, you can super chat or send bits or subscribe or do the Venmo Cash Appy thing. Just take the Venmo Cash App challenge. You've never done it before. Just try $5. See how it feels. If you're like, nah, then don't ever do it again. It's super simple. Speaking of super simple, ladies and gentlemen, I give you, the most easily confused person east of Dan Bongholio at Fox News, Greg Gutfeld, a man who clings to his written down jokes the way Junior clings to his Post-it notes with his whatever his fucking remarks are going to be. But this one's called Greg Gutfeld, The Elites Are Going After the Outsiders. And first of all, The Outsiders is a fantastic movie. Look how many famous people it gave us. Ralph Macchio, Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, and others. So stay frosty, pony ass. All right, here we go. This is Greg Gutfeld. By the way, I would like to add the word elites to the pile where swamp establishment, rhinos, dinos, deep state, that shit pile. Yeah, we can throw elites on that as well, because it wouldn't be nearly as ridiculous a term if Trump wasn't so sort of torn, because he likes to refer to himself and his friends as elites, because fuck you. He deserves $1 million loans none of us could ever get, when he doesn't have, he has the same lack of collateral you and I have. He hasn't got shit, but he was able to lie his way into these loans, and yet he thinks he deserves them because he's an elite, right? So yeah, deepest of deep states, the elites and the cabal and blah, blah, blah. Like if you actually use those words these days, it's fucking embarrassing.
An unprecedented moment after
unprecedented. Never mind.
Former President Trump is indicted. The news igniting a political firestorm as we get brand new details.
I wouldn't call it a firestorm. I think the press is more impressed than the people are.
Details on what comes next. Trump calling it
him turning himself in, fingerprint arraigned. Well, I'll be on tomorrow when it happens. I'm going live. I don't give a shit.
A political persecution, as he reportedly is going to face more than 30 criminal charges over alleged hush money payments.
No. Some of those charges might be about alleged hush money payments, but some of them might not. And the sheer number of them, if that number sticks, is very telling and should be very concerning. Guys.
We wait to see the indictment. Former president is
boy, do we.
Expected to be arraigned next Tuesday. Sources telling Fox he will have his mugshot.
Oh, this is 2 days ago.
And fingerprints taken, but will not be handcuffed. Trump's attorney vowing.
That's because that his hands are so small they would just fall off, and they feel like putting thumb cuffs on him would add insult to injury. Thank you, Tobias, and thank you, DJ Wichita, and thank you, Robert.
To fight back.
Thank you, Lula.
You know, when you stretch the law to get someone you don't like, or as a political opponent in this case.
Yeah, there he is, Joey Taco Peanuts.
It's very hard to ever get that law to come back to its original shape. Today.
Yes, so I think Trump should be ashamed of himself for stretching the law out.
Is proof that you could actually pick a target and then try and find a crime, even a crime that's not a crime.
Excuse me. Whitewater what? Whitewater? What? Whitewater? Does anyone remember Whitewater? To try to find a fucking crime. Are you out of your goddamn mind? The problem with Trump isn't finding a crime. It's narrowing it down to the ones you want to go after.
Because there is no crime here, Sean. I'm telling you, there is no crime. I know the facts. I know the law. And
I don't know the indictment. I don't know the charges yet. So I may be eating my underwear next week, and all of Trump's other lawyers hate my guts. But I had help.
Really want to see where this is going to go.
I don't know.
I want to see where it's going to go, too. Especially if it goes to Rikers.
Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is facing major backlash for.
Holy shit, by the way. Is Greg Gutfeld a guest on Fox News Live? I thought this was I thought this was like a clip from the 5, but they're bringing Greg in. Oh shit! Talk about like everybody there. Jesse Waters is flipping out, but everybody else there is like, yeah, I'll catch you on the flip flop with that whole Trump defense thing.
Bringing this case in the first place. Bragg being criticized for using an untested legal theory to bring state charges in a federal case involving alleged campaign finance violations. Republicans calling it a political ploy and say they're
Yes, and I can't wait for them to see the rest of the charges.
ready to hold the AG accountable.
They're trying to destroy Donald
Merci beaucoup, Templeton Select. Uh-oh. Here comes Sleepy McBourbon.
Trump because they fear him at the ballot box.
Nah. I'm more concerned about what his followers might do while other people are at the ballot box. You tit.
They're trying to drain him dry.
I think that
I know you don't need money, but you don't mean money because he doesn't have any. But it's also slightly gross when Lindsey Graham says that phrase.
Democrats know this has nothing to do with the law. They're sending a message.
And it really
Yes, they are. That this has something to do with the law.
is a slippery slope when we start indicting our political opponents, particularly.
Yes. Have you met Daryl Issa? I mean, if they could come after Trump, they could totally throw this fuckhead. Oh, sorry. Where are you going? I just wanted to bring it up. He's been San Diego, like everybody down there knows. He said, where are you going? Why are you mad?
Active candidates for office instead of cleaning up the
He ran for office after he hurried up and ran after he found he was being charged.
streets of New York. A George Soros-backed DA is focused on indicting a former president.
Former. Emphasis on the former. I would be mad about this, but I like hearing the word former in this case so much that I can't get upset.
This is absolutely a political witch hunt through and through.
This was a campaign promise by the DA.
Well, yeah, and he won partly because the people of New York are, when the fuck are you going to get this guy? Jesus Christ.
He said he would indict the president. He has now done so.
Because the crimes were so out in the open and everybody knew about it, but for some reason they never moved on it. It's almost like it's a mafia town where, oh shit.
All right, let's discuss Pete Hegseth.
Oh, it is the 5. Okay, I thought they were throwing to her because it was a live update. Pete Huckster, give it to him, Huckster.
Listen,
Listen.
how this plays out, if it takes a year or more, Judge, we'll talk about that, to get to actually a trial. If he's the nominee, he's going to be running for president at the same time being a criminal defendant.
Oh, I got news for you. He's going to be in 3 different cases by then. It's not going to be just this one. As a matter of fact, they're going to plea this one out because they're going to need all the resources they have to fight off Georgia and the classified documents case. And when the classified documents stuff hits the fan, the Republicans everywhere are going to tell him to go fuck himself. And that'll give DeSantis the nomination.
In a case in New York.
Why do they think we are so fearful of Trump? Because they are. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it. They're scared shitless of him. And more to the point, scared shitless of what his followers will do if they don't show fealty to him.
City.
Yeah, befitting the banana republic we've become. That's happened in other countries around the world where political opponents have been under indictment or facing jail time and they're running for president because elites
because they decided to run for president to avoid jail time and it didn't work.
have decided they're not
The elites.
worthy of that office or they want to get rid of them. But the people back what they tried to do and were thwarted in the process. It's barely worth talking about.
Yeah, that's just a backward sentence. I don't know what
The merits of this case for ways the judge could talk a lot better than I could.
We don't know, to be fair.
We don't
have
know,
the
but we
indictment
know
yet, so.
what it seems to be about, and it comes.
Yeah, we know what it seems to be, and that's enough at Fox News. Seems is enough, okay? We have based months of reporting on seems.
Comes from a DA who's made his entire career downgrading felonies to misdemeanors or dismissing cases for criminals, and in this case, desperately reaching for a way to find a felony against a former president who he promised.
Well, it seems like, and if we're going again by this count, it seems like he was looking for 4 counts and ended up with 30 extra ones thanks to the grand jury.
As you noted, he would go after as a candidate, and he has. We're going to talk about the political fallout from here. That, I think, is the most important piece and probably doesn't work in the Democrats' favor.
Well, Judge, I'm looking.
I don't think it's going to help. And by the way, the problem with the Trump mugshot idea is that Republicans are going to be wearing it with pride. So are Democrats. As a matter of fact, they may end up selling more to Democrats.
Ahead here. So there are a lot of pretrial motions and ways that his defense team will try to get rid of this before it ever gets to trial.
Oh, yeah.
But how do you think the process is going to go if they get to trial of picking jurors here in New York and holding a trial of somebody who probably is going to be running for president?
I can't even get that far because as a DA and as a former judge who did this for 32 years, this charge is insufficient on its face. If you were charging the...
Which charge would that be? Of the 34, Judge, you're a DA. In a sealed indictment that could contain as many as 34 charges, which ones? I'll wait. Pontificate. It's okay for Hedgehog Head over there to pontificate because he doesn't even pretend to know. You just told us your bona fides are that you were a former judge and DA, and now you're going to wax rhapsodic about potential charges that don't exist yet, or and how they're not valid, and other charges that may exist that you don't. You're just, I guess, disregarding the potential or possibility of.
Falsifying of business records, the statute of limitations is run. If you are bootstrapping it with a federal...
No, it hasn't. Because they may have known about the payment, and they may have known, and this is, I don't know why the fuck I have to tell these people this. Okay, the statute of limitations starts, in this particular case, around these kind of charges. From the moment of discovery. The problem is that how he wrote these, how he wrote down how he paid for these services through Michael Cohen and how he listed them as legal payments, and Michael Cohen's doing until they got Trump's taxes and his financial statements, they didn't have the evidence of how he falsified the action. So the crime, then if you just keep a fucking corpse hidden for decades, and they go, and you're in some state that has a 30-year statute of limitations on murder. The way they fixed that in the modern age is it's 30 years from the discovery of the body. The same thing is true of falsifying business records. It's almost tied to the same legal argument of the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which is before you could have been cheated out of your salary for 5 years, and you had a 2-year statute of limitations from the start of the crime or whenever it happened to actually report it. The problem is you didn't find out for 8 years. So they got away with it. So the way you fix it is it's 2 years. The statute of limitations is 2 years from the discovery of the crime, of how you committed it. In this particular case, listing it as a legal expense and saying that, he paid Michael Cohen this money back as a legal expense was confirmed by his taxes. So they got in 2019, which gives them plenty of time.
Offense.
And I guess the newest stuff from like December.
You don't have that jurisdiction to charge a federal offense. So people are saying this is untested legal theory. This is not untested. This is illegal. And any judge worth his or her salt will dismiss this indictment if it alleges what we suspect.
Well, then that might be it there, Judge. You might have hit on something. That you are making up the charges and therefore the limitations because you're pretending to know something you don't know so that you can argue against that straw grand jury.
Based upon the insufficiency of the indictment. So there's a lot of places, a lot of emotions that will be made before we even get to the trial. I don't think we should get that far. I think one of the things that is so incredibly important to realize here is that this is selective prosecution.
Selective.
This is a DA who has taken one of the most revered, one of the most time-honored DA's offices in the nation, the Manhattan.
Oh, fucking relax. Rudy Giuliani was there when he mopped up the Italian mob so the Russians and the Chinese could move in, and he got richly rewarded for it.
DA's office and turned it into a kangaroo DA's office where they are bringing someone in who was literally.
That man's a cultural institution. You better watch it. You crossing the fucking line.
Running for president on a crime that they allege occurred that Hillary Clinton could have been charged with 5 times over based on the fact that she used campaign funds and charged them as legal expenses, and it wasn't even her money, with the added addition that she split the nation apart with the Russia collusion delusion.
Yes. Let's throw in our own gullibility as evidence of a crime, because these suckers think that there was no collusion in the Mueller report, which is a lie. And so apparently the American legal system is on the hook for how dumb Judge Jeanine is.
She split families apart.
Look, Ivanka and Jared left to go count their billions.
She made Americans fight with each other, but this.
She did? How did she manage to do that? Oh, that thing about where she kept asking for Obama's birth certificate. And
This is simply a continuation of what happened from the time the left saw Donald Trump running. And they got that Steele dossier and they
I've never seen him run. And I wouldn't even call what he does walking. It's very weird.
Use it as a basis for a FISA warrant that they re-upped continuously through James Comey and the Department of Justice. That gave us an example, and I called it the antics of a third world country. And now they've come full cycle. So
full cycle. Cycle. It's pronounced cycle.
I see this not only as a prosecutor, I see it as a politician, someone who's run for office 5 times. I've run in the state of New York. But as an American, this is the takedown of the American criminal justice system.
Oh, my God. It's disgusting. That how dare they? And it's disgusting. And that they would do it. And by the way, what was it about? Porn star? Something porn star, right? I remember it was like baby at home, newborn wife with the baby. Something porn star. What was it about again? I keep forgetting because it's such a nothing.
This is the takedown of America. We're the
takedown of America. Yeah, America cannot handle. That's American exceptionalism for you. Thanks, Judge Jeanine. America, sorry, you've been through so much, but apparently Donald Trump getting charged for paying a porn star to shut the fuck up so that he could court the evangelical vote after he was caught on the Access Hollywood tape admitting to sexual assault multiple times every time he sees a woman he finds attractive, apparently, that you can't handle it. Sorry, America. You thought you were tough, but according to Judge Jeanine, you're a pussy.
Left is literally taking down our republic and turning us into a laughingstock. And
no. Trump's hilarious, but I think we're okay.
Finally, let me say one thing.
Yes, please. You haven't said anything yet, so please say one thing.
This is the only man that our enemies feared.
The fuck are you talking about? I guess fuck Reagan then. I mean, I obviously have my own beliefs about other presidents, but in particular, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. I mean, they did.
Donald Trump is the only man that our enemies feared.
And by the way, he says that, so she's repeating it. She doesn't, I don't know that she specifies what she means by our enemies.
You know, Putin went in, took Crimea when Obama was there. Putin invaded.
Yeah, he didn't give it back when Trump was there.
Ukraine when Biden is there.
Right, and he just kept shelling all during Trump.
Nobody invaded anywhere when Trump was there, and Americans are eating this president alive.
Americans are eating this president alive. We are out of Afghanistan, though. I mean, I think at some point you gotta know.
The judge is warmed up and now ready to go. Okay, you talk about the rest of the world kind of looking at where we're at. The El Salvadoran president said this.
Not the El Salvadoran president. Hold on.
It's going to be hard for the U.S. to now lecture us and use arguments about condemning political persecution. So from the outside looking in, Jessica.
No, it won't, El Salvador. I'm sorry. Simmer down.
We now have foreign leaders saying, you can't talk to us about political.
A foreign leader, a friendly to Trump foreign leader, And
Local prosecutions and corruption and that kind of thing, because they're going to point
so the president of El Salvador's opinion of America is more important than mine, let's say?
the finger at us and say, their impression is that's what this is.
So?
I have nothing against the president of El Salvador. I also know nothing about them. If you have the UK prime minister who says something like that, I'd be a little bit more interested in having that conversation. Where it stands right now, and you're right, Shannon, to continue to caution everyone on this, is that we don't know what's in the indictment. We know that it's...
Excuse me, did you listen to Judge Janine? First of all, we don't need to know. Secondly, we know, okay? You know?
supposed to be 30 plus counts, which I think is not what people expected to begin with. We also know that there has been months of new testimony since people like to harken back and say, well, the DOJ didn't go with this and the FEC didn't go with this. There should be new information. If there isn't, shame on Alvin Bragg. And we'll all be saying that Tuesday at 2:22, because he's arraigned at 2:15. And I know that the judge is considering unsealing the indictment ahead of time. So maybe that, for your Saturday night, if you don't want to watch the final.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Final four, you can do that. But there is a lot of false information flying around about what's gone on here. I've heard this isn't a crime. It is a crime. Donald Trump was an unindicted co-conspirator in what happened with Michael Cohen. He was not prosecuted because he was president of the United States of America. I went back and I looked at the FEC's report on this. The general counsel said it explicitly that this was an illegal campaign contribution. So the choice was not to prosecute, not that something was not done that was inappropriate and was a crime. His own DOJ said unindicted co-conspirator. He was individual number one in all of those papers that came out.
They're not enjoying this, and neither and Judge it feels like Judge is like what's happening in her head right now is I should say something, but I have nothing to say.
I'm also hearing a lot about the George Soros-backed DA here. George Soros released a statement. He didn't back Alvin Bragg. He's actually never even talked to Alvin Bragg. And I understand that it's a fun talking point to say that all the liberal DAs in the country are funded by this boogeyman billionaire. But we all know.
Jew, please, if I may, at least, he's an old, craggly looking Jew with an accent. That's the scariest version that they could come up with. You'd have to go to a German cartoon from 1938 to get any more, into the super ego, id and ego of Republicans in terms of their fear base around George Soros.
What happened to George Soros in 2018 when he had a pipe bomb sent to his house by a crazed.
This is not about that.
Yes, it is.
We can make criticisms of George Soros.
How far are we going to get off the topic here?
All right, listen.
It's not a topic anyways. He said elites. That's everybody.
I'm sorry, the congresswoman who was on TV said Soros-backed DA. It is inaccurate, and it has put lives in danger. People should just be honest
Everything
about
puts
what's going
lives
on.
in danger,
It does
but then when
these days.
people die,
Everything puts lives in danger.
it's like it's not a big deal, right?
What? But when people die, it's not a big deal. Yes, you guys did not give a fuck about Roseanne Boyland.
We get a mass shooting in a school, and whose lives are in danger? Trans, according to the White House. I'm just saying, if you want to go in
Because of backlash, you dumb fuck. The person who did it is dead.
that direction, we can all do that.
I want to ask you, though.
No, you can't. Especially if you're just talking about the odds.
Because you mentioned James Comey and some things that went on under his watch.
Just see what he said?
He tweeted, and I think we have the tweet. It's been a good day, Greg.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to speak about just like the people who are giddy in the media.
Hi, Greg.
Especially in New York. I have a feeling they've probably never been mugged.
What? Have you, Greg?
Because we're witnessing a pretty big trade. We have a DA that chose not to prosecute criminals and devote almost all of his time chasing the great white whale or the great orange whale that is Trump. So there was a trade there. And why is that important? It's because you're seeing...
Because it's a great boogeyman, and there's this belief somehow that the white-collar crime part of the New York DA's office or the part that goes after white-collar criminals in the Department of Justice or anywhere else in the Manhattan, just in the police force in general, are the same fucking people that walk the beat, or the same fucking people that are on robbery, homicide.
Seeing a major reframing in the way the way I look at this world, I don't see things left or right anymore. I see things as inside and outside.
I'm just going to write this down because since everybody is moving away from Republicans and Trump has made rhinos the catch-all phrase for everyone who's against us, you can't say right or left anymore because we're not right and we're wrong so often.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there were two people that were targeted this week. You couldn't get more opposite between Matt Taibbi and Donald Trump. One, a renegade progressive journalist.
I call bullshit.
Another, a renegade Republican president. What do they have in common?
They're both assholes who sexually harassed women in the workplace for years and never got called on it, who amazingly got a fucking pass for a long goddamn time because there were enough people that liked what they did that ran interference for them. That's why. Renegade. Get the fuck out of here.
On the outside.
They're both awful.
So this isn't about the left going after the right. It's about the elites going after the outsiders. And if you look at all of the things that we talk about on the show and the things
you motherfucker, you're in Manhattan.
Things that piss you off. Do you know why nothing gets done? Because you're the outsider.
What? What do you mean why nothing gets done? I'm sorry. Tell me more about Trump's healthcare plan and his infrastructure bill and how the wall was finished and it works great.
Right? If you're concerned about the border, if you're concerned about crime, if you're concerned about inflation, and if you happen to like Trump, you're an outsider.
No, I mean, I appreciate your attempt to rip off Jeff Foxworthy in a really pathetic way, but no, you can be concerned about all those things and not be a Trump fan. The Trump fan part of it makes it weird because if you give a fuck about the border, then you'll know that the wall wasn't enough and arguably made it worse by funneling immigrants through dangerous areas, specifically areas that where there were gaps in this fucking wall that were always intended. Or you don't like the fact that he took private land and gave it to fucking Mexico, the first U.S. president to do that since the 1800s.
Inside elites have no concerns about anything. They don't live in the border states.
But enough about Tucker.
That's right. They don't have to worry about...
Neither do you, motherfucker.
About crime. They don't have to worry about guns because they got private security.
They don't have to... Okay, so good. At least he's not talking about me. Anybody in the chat got private security? Anybody? Anybody in here? No? Anybody? Got it? Nope. This is private security? Is that what's happening? All right.
As for Trump, they hate him. They don't care if he was feared by foreign powers. They don't care if he had...
Yeah, we do. The problem was he wasn't feared by the foreign powers that are dangerous. He was feared by our allies. You fucking dumbass. They weren't... Honestly, think Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin viewed Trump as a useful idiot. The only people that feared him were fucking France and Germany and the UK and members of the European Union, people that we had partnerships with.
A good economy. They just don't like him. They kept...
A good economy. Yes, because comparatively, we have a great economy, even after COVID.
This guy's getting prosecuted because of tweets, because they mentally deranged him. This is...
No, he did not tweet a payment to Stormy Daniels.
The first prosecution based on Trump derangement syndrome.
You look upset, Greg. You do. And I don't know if this is enough. Either you're so dumb, you actually think this is all there is, and that number, that 34 possible charges, didn't give you pause and go, maybe I shouldn't go for a stroll in this minefield of dumb fuckery, throwing myself under the bus for Donald Trump and sacrificing what little credibility I have left inside me. Perhaps I should hesitate before stomping my way through a yard full of rakes that Donald Trump has draped across the lawn, multiple, just throwing them willy-nilly everywhere. Maybe just maybe, after being led down the primrose path by this cheating motherfucker before, and considering how he has treated his wives, maybe, just maybe, I ought to tap the fucking brakes on my Trump support for a moment when I hear the number 34 in terms of charges possibly being brought against Trump in this one case, while the classified documents case over the last 4 days has gotten fucking horrible for him. It's gotten so bad, people are like, Georgia who?
We know that. We know this is political. Don't
No, we don't.
pretend that this is over an unindicted co-conspirator. That's garbage. Lastly,
Unindicted co-conspirator over what? Oh, paying a porn star. Right. Sorry. Sometimes I forget that that Melania was home with Barron. He was paying a porn star to shut the fuck up about fucking her during the thing and stuff. And how if he had a alibi, he would use it. If he wasn't there, he could just say so, unless where he was actually worse.
we have to go back and think about what we miss.
Yes. I miss the illusion that Greg Gutfeld was going to be funny one day. I don't know why I bought into it. I don't know why anybody did. Instead, he's just an angry little man with a lot of notes.
Ever we see a political witch hunt, there are three things that I remember in my lifetime.
One, the zipper goes in the front, no matter how weird it feels. Number two, Tucker will never call you in the morning, and he does not respect you even before it all goes down. And number three, that finger's dirty. Sorry.
We can go back to COVID. The first 2 months of COVID, we were doing a Trump impeachment. We lost 2 months. I remember it was on every channel while this weird thing got out of the Pandora's box in China, but we were getting our teeth sunk in Trump theater. Then you go back even further.
What the fuck are you talking about? Trump was like, it's gonna move on in April. It's no big deal. I talked to Xi last night. The fuck are you talking about? That benefited Trump in his response. He wanted to drag ass on COVID. Anybody else would have used the fact that this thing was there and gone, they're impeaching me right now, but I've got to come out here every single fucking day and we're going to nail this down. We're going to solve this thing. We're going to jump on this early because it looks bad to me. And people would accuse you of shitting the bed and trying to wag the dog with the CDC instead of the DOD, right?
9/11. What happened before 9/11?
Al Gore won the election. And, but by the time, people realized it was too late, and so George Bush was in there, and then he didn't bother to read his presidential daily briefs.
Another political witch hunt. This time it was about a blue dress, right? We didn't see Al-Qaeda coming because we're too busy worrying about the president coming.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on. This asshole thinks that and maybe this is him going after Republicans in general, like because he needs to attack rhinos. But he thinks the Lewinsky affair slowed down our George W. Bush's response to fucking Al-Qaeda. The motherfucker, I'm sorry, was he sniffing the blue dress instead of reading his PDB? I know Bin Laden's determined to attack inside the United States, but look how crusty. What the fuck?
That's a witch hunt.
That's just dumb. It was years before. The fuck's wrong with you?
There's three witch hunts right now. There's 9/11.
Look, he's laughing at him. He's like, this makes no fucking sense. There's three witch hunts right now. 9/11.
There's COVID. What did we...
The COVID witch hunt.
Talk about today? What was the big story?
What was the big story? Oh, you mean the fact that Corcoran had to testify because, and I don't know, I think this might have been Friday or something. Yeah.
These techno nerds, right, from Silicon Valley saying the biggest threat in the world. The biggest threat in the world is AI without proper control. Without proper control.
And I would like to remind you that this asshat was just complaining that they were getting too far off topic when one of his co-hosts brought up the fact that Republicans keep mentioning that Bragg is Soros backed when he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't.
Wait, Janine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have to understand that sometimes I talk into the wrong side of my phone.
Change. But it's out of the news. That got pushed out of the news because of this.
Yeah, welcome to the conversation about climate change, dickhead.
Because we can't get enough of Trump.
Yes, we can. We've all had enough of Trump. It's that you guys can't get enough of Trump. And you keep dragging him out and thinking he's the solution to your problems, and so we got to fucking handle it again, like somebody who keeps like a neighbor who keeps clogging your fucking toilet.
That's on the media. So
that's on the media. You're in the media. Stop. If this motherfucker goes, thanks for supporting independent journalism.
Thank you.
This is a family show.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do?
You did a great
It's a family show.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
The kids
Not
are
anymore.
watching.
You did a great job.
It's 10
Oh, no, because he did a cum joke.
o'clock somewhere.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
It's 6 o'clock somewhere. What'd she say?
The kids
Not
are
anymore.
watching.
You did a great job.
It's 10 o'clock somewhere.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock somewhere. Yes, the kids are, the only kids that are awake are ones who get cum jokes, I guess, is the idea. Fucking yikes. And they gave him a round of applause for that fucking panic attack about whatever the fuck.